Good evening, folks, and a very, very warm welcome to you. Thank you for joining us here on the Geelong Region Soccer Show podcast, as you do every every Monday night. I'm already jumping the gun. My name's Tonchi Prusak. I am your host for tonight's show. It's our 12th episode for Season 8, 12th episode for 2026. And boy, have we got a fantastic show for you, a jam-packed show we've got. We're going to catch up with three guests tonight. In the news desk section, we're going to talk to North Geelong Warriors captain Anthony Barnovats, who played his 200th game on the weekend for the Warriors. Unfortunately, his team didn't do too well against the top team, the Melbourne Knights, in Melbourne last night in Victorian Premier League 1 action. Nonetheless, we will catch up with him. He'll talk about combining fatherhood and football, and also his impression of the state of play with regards to football in the Geelong region. And obviously, he'll also be talking about North Geelong Warriors as well. We'll be speaking to a man who is a legend, not just down the Surf Coast region, but in football here in Geelong in general. Steve Christou, a former president of Surf Coast Football Club, last week received a Community Commitment Award as part of the Surf Coast Shire's Local Legends Award. And he'll be joining us to talk about that and what that means for him personally, but also the recognition and acknowledgement that the club is getting down those neck of the woods. We'll also be speaking to a local fitness instructor. He's a strength coach as well as a power lifter, David Tran Kong, who's the co-director of the Lara Health and Fitness Centre. This Saturday, David is organising a very interesting seminar about mental strength and mindset and resilience and visualisation, and that is aimed at junior athletes. I guess more so for the ones down the elite pathway, elite player pathway, but also it is something that is relevant, I guess, for parents of all junior sports people, as well as all sports in particular, as far as we're concerned, footballers of all abilities, because some of the things that you can learn and find out about strength training or mental strength training can certainly apply to other walks of life. So, yeah, we've got a huge show for you, folks. We're going to take a very, very short break from one of our business advertising sponsors, one of our main business advertising sponsors. And after that, when we return, it's going to be time for the news desk and a lot happening this weekend, including the kickoff of the local league competition. Stay with us.
The world is yours. So work hard, and you can have whatever it is you want.
And welcome to the news desk. We're going to start off with the Geelong Galaxy on the weekend. They had a very, very good win against Banyule City, and it was a 3-1 win with Emily Sutcliffe scoring 2 goals, and she scored the second and the third goal. Just wait for the highlights, and thank you to Branko Kostevski from Galaxy United for supplying these highlights. Look at this. From a set piece, Sutcliffe bags her 5th goal of the season. She went on to score a 6th goal, or her 6th goal this season. She scored 6 goals in the last 4 matches, and there's a different angle, and what a goal this was. Galaxy United running out 3-1 winners over Banyule City. And this is the final goal. So 6 goals in 4 games. And Sugimori, who scored that first goal, scored her 4th goal of the season. So there we go. Well done to Geelong Galaxy and to Emily Sutcliffe as well. So if we have a look at the state of affairs in Victorian Premier League women's competition, Sugimori scoring in the 17th minute, Sutcliffe in the 75th and the 84th minute. And this Saturday, Brunswick Juventus, who are in 3rd position, they host Geelong Galaxy, currently in 5th position at CB Smith Reserve. Kickoff there is at 3 p.m. Now, should the Galaxy win this game, they will leapfrog Brunswick Juventus, possibly into the top 3, certainly into the top 4, without a shadow of a doubt. And what a great result that would be. A win on the road against the ever-difficult Brunswick Juventus, and Galaxy could come home in higher position and starting to eye that promotion, or the promotion spots that could lead to NPLW. Wouldn't that be fantastic in 2027? North Geelong, the Knights defeated the North Geelong Warriors 2-1. Patrick Wall scoring in the 33rd minute. It's his 6th goal of the season. And the big Croatian derby at Knights Stadium. It was a good crowd. It was close to 1,000 fans there, I'd say. Definitely they're in the vicinity of that number. And afterwards, I caught up with Anthony Barnavats from North Geelong Warriors, and this is what he had to say, who actually, incidentally, played his 200th game on the weekend for the Warriors.
Here we are after the game at Tomset Stadium. We're speaking with North Geelong Warriors captain Anthony Barnavats. 2-1 result against the league leaders. Not the result you wanted, mate, but competitive right to the end.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, as has been the case with us a fair bit this season, just didn't take advantage of the opportunities that we did have. A couple really good look-ins at 1-1 that could have made the difference, but unfortunately, the result went the other way today.
Yeah. Having said that, it's been a topsy-turvy season, a great start to the year. A little bit of a lapse, but right to the end, at the moment, mid-table, a healthy mid-table. Are you happy with the season so far at the halfway mark, or not really happy with it?
Yeah, it's a good summary. We did have a really strong start to the season. Are we happy at this stage? Absolutely not. We're in a poor run of form. We know we can do a lot better than what we've done so far, so we're looking for an improvement from here on in.
The difference between VPL 2 and VPL 1, is there a big difference in your eyes?
Yeah, absolutely. We're probably getting punished for a lot of the issues. We're getting punished for a lot of the defensive lapses where maybe last season we got away with them. And obviously the speed of the game's a lot faster, so we've still got a lot of improvement to do.
Now, mate, we're in front of the Mark Viduka stand. For any footballer of Croatian extraction here in Victoria, it's always a special place to come here to Knights Stadium. Was there an extra sort of incentive for you today coming out here on Tomset Stadium, as it's called now, home of the Melbourne Knights?
It is. It's a special feeling playing against Melbourne Knights. Obviously, our brothers, our brother club, the 2 playing groups, 2 sets of supporters, 2 committees have historically had very strong ties. It is special. It's a special feeling coming here, but it would be a lot more special if we got the 3 points.
Yeah, and mate, finally, one last thing. I guess you've really seen a lot over the years. You're kind of a veteran, but you're not. You're still a young fellow in many, many ways. But you've seen, I guess you've played at NPL level, VPL 1, VPL 2, obviously played your junior days. How are we with Geelong football at the moment? Globally speaking, are we heading in the right direction with a lot of the younger players coming through the ranks? Is there not enough of a pathway? What's your take on it all?
Yeah, that's a massive question, and probably that could be a podcast on its own.
Yeah, I reckon.
In truth, I think what's really pleasing to me is, like you said, I've been around for a long time. This is my 12th or 13th season now in the senior team. Probably the first 3 of those, there weren't many players from Geelong. I was the only one. Myself and Michael Anderson. Whereas now look at the squad, and instead of being 15% Geelong, we're probably 85% Geelong and 15% outside of that. So from that perspective, it's definitely trending in the right direction. I think we're now seeing the benefits of the NPL system over a long time. So the players that are coming through now have been in the NPL system, junior system, I should say, for 10 years. There's an improvement, absolutely. I still think, as a region, we should be a lot stronger. We should be doing a lot more. You're talking about a catchment area of maybe 300,000 people. We should have an NPL squad.
Yeah,
absolutely. So
yeah, hopefully
we'll keep working on what we have to work on as a club, because I want it to be us. That's that NPL club full of Geelong players, and we'll do what we can.
And on a personal level, earlier this season, I guess you became a father as well. So how's that like? Obviously, balancing being a young father with the I guess the highs and lows of semi-professional football. How's that affected you in a good way or a bad way? Getting many sleepless nights or?
I won't lie, it's incredibly difficult. But I have to give a massive thank you to my wife. I mean, between work, I'm doing probably 50, 55-hour weeks of work, and then spending another 15 hours on top of that at semi-professional soccer. So it doesn't leave a lot of spare time, and I rely on her a lot. And she does an incredible amount of work, so it's only possible because of her. And then when you're walking out to a game, it's a special feeling when you can look to the stand and you see, my wife and my daughter both waving at me. It makes it heartful.
I know there's still many, many years left in those boots of yours, but there's a sort of like being a dad and then sort of kind of on the wrong side of 30, if you want to say that. Does it sort of make you appreciate coming out and playing each Saturday or Friday or Sunday, whatever the case may be? But from a personal point, does it sort of make you really appreciate the time you have out on the field with the boys?
I have to say, I've always appreciated playing for North Geelong. So it's not any more or less, it's just different. It's very fulfilling. Are there many years left? Probably not. But for now, feeling good, playing well, always thinking I can play better as well. So we'll see where it goes.
And where to now? Back onto the training track and preparing for next week's game?
Yeah, absolutely. North Sunshine next week. We had a good result against them first time around. We had a good result against Melbourne Knights as well first time around. So it doesn't mean it'll be easy. We got to work hard, because very easily a promising ladder position where we're pushing for finals can all of a sudden end up, you're looking over your shoulder at the bottom 3 position. So we've got a lot of work to do.
Mate, you've taken time out of the post-match team talk in the dressing rooms to spend some time with us. Really, really appreciate it, Anthony. Good luck for the rest of the season.
And that's Anthony Barnabas. Congratulations on 200 games there. Great milestone. A real gentleman and an articulate one at that. So all the best to him. Now, as we said, this weekend, round 15, the Warriors are at home to North Sunshine Eagles. That game kicking off at 5 p.m. on Saturday night at Alco Park. The Warriors, they're 9th. They've had a little bit of a bad run lately. They're coming up against second last place, the North Sunshine Eagles. A very important game here. Only 5 points separates those two teams. So a loss could certainly mean that the North Sunshine Eagles will edge closer towards North Geelong. North Geelong will edge closer to the relegation zone. A win, though, will distance the Warriors away from that dreaded relegation zone, bring them closer to the top 2, top 3, that's for sure. All right, moving along, we're going to look at the State League competition, the Men's State League, first of all. Geelong Soccer Club going from strength to strength at the moment. A 4-1 win over Clifton Hill on the weekend. Mathul Koué scored it's his 5th, well, he scored his 6th goal, but it's his 5th goal in the last 5 games. He scored a goal a game in the last 5 matches. That is an incredible record at the moment. Toshiki Makimoto scoring. Olavo de Andrade Santos, so he's currently the leading goal scorer there at Winslow Stadium, having scored 8 goals in the so far this season, and he scored 4 goals in the last 3 games. So between Santos and Koué, I tell you what, that is why Geelong are in absolute red-hot form at the moment. Local youngster, homegrown talent, Oscar Tanik, also scoring for Geelong. So they are doing extremely well, and they're on top by about 5 points or thereabouts in State League 1 as the halfway mark of the season approaches. Now, in State League 2 Northwest, all the Geelong teams drew with their Melbourne counterparts. Kai Williams scored twice for Geelong Rangers as they drew with the Brimbank Stallions, 2-2. Jordan Savinsky scored his second goal of the season in a 1-1 draw with us for Surf Coast with Western Eagles. And Corio have drawn 0-0 since the new coach Craig Filer has taken over. A win and a draw, and according to some reports, they were very unlucky that they didn't win this weekend. So certainly something is cooking at Hume Reserve in a positive way. In State League 4, Point Cook hosted Bell Park and went down to the All Whites. Gianmarco Algerino scoring for Bell Park, Kai Fletcher as well, and so too did Liam Muscat. So the All Whites taking all 3 points on the road. Over the page, we look at State League 5. Deakin Ducks, courtesy of this 2-1 win over Meadow Park, have jumped into top spot on the State League 5 ladder. Jack Hamance and Brenton Rees scoring the goals for the Ducks. Unfortunately, Lara United are anchored to the bottom of the State League 5 ladder with are following a 4-0 loss at the hands of Newport Storm at home. We turn our attention to this weekend coming, round 10. We've got Geelong at home to fourth place Ballarat City, and that game at Winslow Stadium kicking off at the usual time of 6 p.m. Saturday night. So get down to Winslow Stadium and watch the top team do battle against the fourth place Ballarat City. These two teams have a long history going back to the VPL 2 and VPL 1, I think, as well, and certainly State League 1. In State League 2, all the Geelong teams are away from home. Mill Park, who are in 9th position, taking on our 8th place Geelong Rangers, that game at Partridge Street Reserve. Uni Hill Eagles, they're in 7th position. They host 2nd place Surf Coast. At the moment, Surf Coast has Williamstown breathing down their necks, and FC Strathmore have run away at the top of those of the State League 2 competition standings. A rejuvenated Corio take on 4th place Western Eagles at the Polish Sports Centre in Ardea. And can Corio finally get off the bottom of the ladder? Well, we'll find out this Saturday night when they take on the Western Eagles. 6:30 p.m. is the kickoff in that fixture. Bell Park are at home to Melton Phoenix, so a very, very important game for the All Whites. 6th versus 7th. Phoenix will be looking to jump over Bell Park, and Bell Park will be looking to distance themselves away from Melton and move closer to the top. If we have a look across over the page in State League 5, it's going to be a battle between top and second, when the Keilor Wolves host Deakin Ducks at Green Gully Reserve. Pitch 4, it's the back pitch at 3 p.m. Very important game, and this game could really determine the Ducks' season. Thornbury Athletic, who are 9th, they host the bottom place Lara United. And in State League 6, we've got Spring Hills hosting Ocean Grove, 5th versus 8th. Barwon hosting Alphington, 7th versus 9th. And speaking of State 6, David Favetta scored 2 goals for Ocean Grove last week. He's scored 6 in his last 3 games, so he's got a total of 9 goals. And he and Barwon's Finn Murphy are both on 9 goals at the moment. So they are leading the Golden Boot tally in State League 6. Fantastic. In Women's State League 1 action on the weekend, it was not a good result for the North Geelong Warriors. Their 4th loss of the season, going down 3-2 against Altona City. Maya Pehar and Zoe Storchich scoring for the Warriors. This weekend, Warriors come up against Collingwood City in a must-win game. It's 8th versus 9th, 9th being second last place Collingwood City. That game kicking off this Saturday afternoon at 2:45 p.m. Now, this weekend just gone by also saw the kickoff of the season proper of the local league's new season. And if we have a look at the Geelong Region Men's Division 1 competition, round 1 results saw Armstrong United and Golden Plains fight out a 0-0 draw. Bell Park forfeited their match against the Geelong Rangers, so the Rangers won 3-0. It's interesting, first game of the season proper, and I'm not too sure what happened there. Surf Coast, well, they've certainly made an announcement, defeating Deakin Ducks 6-0, and FC Leopold defeated Barwon 2-0 in their first round fixture at Grovedale Reserve. This weekend coming, 3 games on Friday night, only one in that traditional Sunday afternoon time slot. Golden Plains hosting Bell Park at home, Deakin Ducks at home to Barwon, and the Geelong Rangers at home to FC Leopold. All those games on Friday night. Surf Coast are at home to Armstrong United on Sunday afternoon. In the Women's Division 1 competition, firstly, it is great to see an 8-team competition, an 8-team division. I don't think we've had an 8-team Women's Division 1 competition in a long, long time. Additionally, the women's competition has been broken up into 3 divisions. So for the first time, that is the case, and that's great to see as well. Let's go through the round 1 results of the Women's Division 1 competition. Surf Coast defeated Bell Park 6-1. And speaking of Surf Coast, we'll be speaking to their coach, Steve Christou, a little bit later on in the program. He'll be touching on this game. Ocean Grove and Geelong Rangers met at Shell Road Reserve. The Rangers came away with a 2-1 win. At Armstrong United, they hosted Barwon Soccer Club, and Barwon came away with an emphatic 10-0 win. And the Deakin Ducks defeated Lara United at Warm Ponds by a scoreline of 2-0. All the games in round 2 will be Saturday afternoon. Rangers hosting Barwon at the very early time of 10:35 a.m. Saturday, Lara United are at home to Bell Park. Armstrong United are home to Deakin Ducks, and in the later game, Ocean Grove taking on Surf Coast. All right, folks, that brings us to the end of the news desk. We're going to take a little short break, and when we return, we'll be speaking with our first guest for tonight. Stay tuned for that. Welcome to Furphy. You've known us previously as Geelong Galvanising. For over 30 years, our team has specialised in delivering high-quality surface finishes for steel installations and products in the construction, landscaping and engineering industries. That's not changing. What is changing? We're making things more official. The company formerly known as Geelong Galvanising is now known simply as Furphy. If it's steel solutions you're after, you're in the right place. For all our customers, both old and new, this transition simply means more capabilities, more locations, and the same trusted experience. We're still here to deliver steel solutions for a brighter tomorrow. Only now, we're doing it under a name that's been part of our collective story in Australian manufacturing for over a century. For all your steel solutions, contact our Geelong office on 5275 7555 or email us at sales.geelong@furphy.com. Or pop in and see us. We're still at the same place at 360 Bacchus Marsh Road in Corio. And welcome back to the Geelong Region Soccer Show podcast. And we're coming to you from Lara Health and Fitness Centre on the outskirts of Lara. And with me today is the co-director of the fitness centre here, and David Tran Kong. David, first of all, welcome to the Geelong Region Soccer Show podcast. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Thanks for having me on, Tonchi.
Yeah. Now, you're a fitness coach, you're a strength coach, you're a powerlifter yourself. So what are you doing on a soccer program? Well, you've got a very interesting seminar happening this Saturday aimed at junior athletes and by extension, I guess, elite athletes, or this will be certainly something interesting for elite junior athletes. Tell us a bit more about this mindset seminar that you're having.
Yeah, so it's going to be an event where we've invited junior athletes, I guess teenagers from the age of 13 and up, to come down. We have quite a few various sporting codes represented here at our gym with the different athletes and the different juniors that are training here. So primarily they're going to come in and sit in on this seminar, and then we've opened it up to the community as well, the larger community. So any athlete can come down. It's a free event. And we're going to be talking about things like mindset, positivity in your self-talk, when we talk about imagery, when we talk about visualization techniques, stuff that will hopefully help any athlete, whether they're juniors or even the adult side of things as well, into their future development to get the most out of their performance on the sporting field, but then hopefully also for their life ambitions as well, for their life goals too.
Now, as a fitness coach, a strength coach, you do a lot of work in the community with a lot of different clubs: rugby, football, soccer, tennis, basketball, you name it. And I guess you see an insight into junior athletes. You get a great insight when it comes to positive mindset. Now, we talked off air about how a lot is spent on the technical side of things, in particular soccer, maybe game day strategy as well. But in my opinion, not enough is done on mindset training. How important is mindset training to the overall success of one in whichever field that they're in?
Yeah, it's massive. It's massive. From my personal experience, through my own personal sporting ambitions and things that I've done through my life as a junior athlete, playing basketball, soccer, any athletic pursuit, as well as powerlifting now into my older years. I feel a bit older now, obviously competing still at an older age.
About juniors,
but it's one of those things where it's never too young to learn about how to really improve your mindset and have the strategies in place to improve your mindset through mental training, as well as just, I guess, like making the kids that come to a seminar like this aware that, hey, there's plenty of different ways that we can amplify your performance on the field with things that you can just do at home, things that you can just do on your own, in your own time, as little as 3 to 5 minutes, a meditation technique or a breath work technique that can really bring out the best in you and help you with things like performing under pressure, calming techniques for anxiety, performance anxiety, that sort of thing. Not to go too deep into the realm of sports psychology, but just things that I've found have worked for me, the athletes that I've worked with, and all the literature that's out there. Like there's so much out there. And obviously there's only so much time in the day that coaches can spend with athletes, whether they be working through the skill side of things, that often this sort of stuff is neglected. And athletes will need to go out and find their own information and source it for themselves.
That's such a good point, and you've made several good points there. One thing that really kind of resonated there was the performance anxiety, and sometimes in this day and age, it's not just coaches that put the expectations on the kids or overbearing parents, but it's the kids themselves. Sometimes they put themselves under a lot of pressure, a lot of stress, and some of the techniques that you'll be addressing this Saturday, in what way does it involve, I guess, addressing performance anxiety?
It's probably more from a very fundamental level of just teaching kids how powerful their mind can be, so that they're aware, hey, look, my thoughts will reflect on my actions. And through my thoughts is, positive self-talk, the ability for me to, believe what I say and say what I believe is a saying. So, and then the next thing would be techniques to develop their, I guess, mental resilience and their mental toughness, but then also build, rehearse mental routines and strategies for performance, like actual on-field performance as well. Think of, doing a penalty shot. Like you could play the penalty shot 1,000 times in your mind before it actually happens. You know what I mean? We've all done it before when we were kids playing in the backyard. You dream of being in the big stadiums under the lights with all the eyes on you, and you think about the game-winning shots. Well, that is mental training. That is imagery. That is the ability for you to use your mind's eye to learn how to perform in that scenario. And stuff like that. I don't know, maybe it's the age of technology where kids just have everything forced on them through what they can go out and just watch, that maybe they're not using their imaginations like we used to, or, like they should, to really develop that mind's eye to use things like imagery to their advantage. So.
And that's another important thing. These days, we've got so much information overload. And the kids themselves, they find it really difficult to process it, let alone us older kids, let's say, with so much information. But how important as well is that being able to block that external distractions out, and once again, getting back to that positive mindset side of things.
Yeah, and that probably comes back to their ability to train it outside of that environment, outside of that scenario, just rehearsing some routines for breath work that can calm them in the situation, in the moment of, or I feel like I'm starting to get a little bit anxious here, or I'm starting to feel the pressure. How can I bring it back to, just that ability to just breathe deeper, slow down. Don't let your emotions and your thoughts take over too much, and just go through the process of, what you need to do. Just do it. you've rehearsed it in your mind, you've physically practiced it on the field. Let's give you the strategies to actually just go out there and perform.
And training, that's what training is all about, I guess, preparing ourselves.
Physical and mental.
Physical and mental. And now we did do talk about the junior athletes going down the elite pathway, but not just junior athletes, athletes of all types, and including their parents as well. Like a lot of the stuff that we do in sports can translate into everyday life, whether it be school, whether it be careers, whether it be workplace environment. So a lot of these principles that you teach can be applied to other elements of life, can't it?
100%. And, anxiety and that sort of like pressure can be in all aspects of life. Adults, we deal with pressure every day, really, don't we? But in terms of like managing your mind and your mindset, it's something that you can train yourself to be better at. The earlier we learn about it and the earlier we have strategies in place to practice the techniques that are needed to help us develop those things, and to deal with the tough circumstances, and to really get a good sense of self as well. I think that's something that a lot of kids are missing nowadays, is that what is their sense of self? How do they view themselves? Because something about imagery can be not from just the first person view. How do you perceive yourself from the external? And the ability for them to go through life learning a little bit more about themselves in a self-confident, positive way.
Does that come back down to judgment as well? The judgment that they feel that they put themselves under, or externally, like particularly in the areas of performance? Do you think that can be used in a positive as well as a negative way?
It can definitely go both ways, and there's so many different avenues of expectation and competitiveness, especially at the elite level, is that you're vying for X amount of spots. It's your ability to compete against other people. It's your ability to go out there and showcase yourself. Well, I think just like a test or an exam, the better your preparation and the better your ability to bring your best self on the day that you need to present your best self. That's what is going to make the difference, isn't it? So all the little tools, all those little 1% things, because you take two kids of exactly the same physical ability, physical characteristics, played the same amount of years, have the same skill set. What is the denominator? It's mindset. It's their ability to believe in themselves.
Now, as a powerlifter yourself, you said you've done some powerlifting, and I guess that's an individual sport, but you've also played in your younger days team sports, so you know the difference between individual sports and team sports. And is it, in your opinion, is there a difference in the way you approach those things, or are there a lot of similarities as well when it comes back down to sheer discipline, for example?
I think there's a lot of similarities in the sense that you have to bring your best self. The best way for you to contribute in a team environment and to bring up the team is to firstly bring the best version of yourself to the team.
That's a really good point.
And if we can do stuff outside of our team sessions that makes us better, and your self-development, your self-progress through your athletic journey, then we can bring that to any scenario. So whether it be me getting under a heavy barbell or going in and playing in a team of 7 other people, it really just comes down to the environment where I need to apply my skills.
That's an interesting point, because we were talking off air about introverted kids, for example, who sometimes pull back and they don't want to be kind of in the limelight. The way you get those loud kids that are on the park and off the park. They're the ones that seem to dominate. But particularly those introverted kids, if they can work on their mindset side of things, they've got so much that they can offer both to themselves but also to the team environment.
100%. I think it's just letting their skills and their ability shine when the time comes. So when you're called upon to kick the game-winning goal or stop the game-winning goal or do your part to bring the team to where it needs to be to get over the line, that's when the kids need to shine. It's not all those extra things of like when you're at training, who's going to be the loudest or whatever. Like, you can still work out hard without being loud, but within yourself, you have to know your skill set, and you have to know when the time comes, I'll be ready.
Fascinating conversation we're having here with David Tran Kong from Lara Health and Fitness Centre. Mate, discipline. That's something that we kind of hear the big D word. It's so important. And before you get to that training, before you get to that mindset, before you do anything, I suppose you have to have the discipline to decide to do something, act upon something, and then focus on doing something. How important is discipline
to the overall side of things, particularly in the area of positive mindset?
It's massive, but if we take it back to we're talking about junior athletes, we're talking about kids, I think discipline is a big word for them because discipline feels
Scary
very
sometimes,
heavy,
isn't
very,
it?
very
Yeah.
weighty, and it's almost like you say to them, like, we want you to be more disciplined. You have to have more discipline in what you do. It sounds like you're really restricting them in how they can live their lives. Like, I think for a junior athlete, and this is how I sort of come up through sport, your personal interest, your motivation, it always comes from within. You can't force discipline, and you can't force that on someone else, and that ability for kids to develop that themselves through participating in many different sports to find the one that they like, through external factors of like, what are my friends doing? Or, like, I remember I loved watching like 2000s NBA basketball because those guys to me were like phenomenal athletes. And, even before that with Michael Jordan and those guys, like, you watch those people and you're like, I want to be like that. Bringing it back to soccer, Ronaldo, Pele even. My family grew up watching the World Cup. They would always put the World Cup on. We'd be up, 3, 4 in the morning watching it wherever it was televised from. And, the ability for me to watch those people and get interested in that sport myself pushed me to want to do it more. And then from there, the discipline side of it, just it sort of should organically roll on. If you want to train discipline, it comes back to routines and habits. I think the biggest part of that is the ability for the child to go, well, what do I need to do on a day-to-day basis to keep getting better and to keep improving myself so that I can take that to my sport and take that to my team.
Great conversation we're having here. We could talk on and on and on about this, but we're going to have to wind it up, unfortunately. This Saturday seminar, tell us a little bit more about it, where it's going to be, obviously, time, and how people can book a spot if there's still spots available.
Yeah, so you can find us through our social media pages. We're on Instagram, Facebook. We've got a YouTube as well, but Lara Health and Fitness Centre, if you look us up online, we are located at 158 McClellan Avenue here in Lara. The seminar will be held in our facilities where we're sitting right now. We're hoping to get 20 kids here. I've got probably about 4 spots left with all the kids that have RSVP'd. And then, once they're here, it's basically the ability for us to bring, some strategies to them that they can practice once they leave the seminar for, visualization techniques and imagery techniques that they can use to try and help them with their sporting performance. But then also talking about things like breath work, and then talking about mindset, just positive self-talk, the ability for them to really, bring out the best in themselves through the way they talk to themselves as well. Yeah.
Awesome. David, thank you so much for putting this on for the wider community, and also for coming on the Geelong Region Soccer Show to talk about positive mindset. Such a big thing, and in some ways a very underrated topic of conversation amongst junior athletes. Good on you.
Thanks.
We'll be back shortly after this to continue with tonight's episode of the Geelong Region Soccer Show podcast. We hope you're enjoying tonight's show. Where in Geelong can you get great food from such a wide-ranging menu? Friendly staff and a bar to enjoy drinks with friends? Live sport in the beer garden from Thursday nights to Sunday afternoons? Live music every Saturday night and every Sunday night? And our famous Grandma's Roast every Sunday lunch? Well, at the Elephant and Castle, of course. Situated on 158 McKillop Street in East Geelong, the Elephant and Castle has everything that you will want and need when you decide to have a night out on the town. The Elephant and Castle is the home of the Socceroos in Geelong. We'll be showing all Socceroos games live during the coming World Cup. For more information on all of our upcoming events or to book online, click on the book tab now on the Elephant and Castle website at www.elephantandcastle.com.au. And folks, it's time now for our next guest, and just a jam-packed show tonight indeed. And this man's been on our show several times before. It's always great to catch up with him. And I guess we don't celebrate enough of our acknowledgements and achievements in the football world, particularly when it's outside of the football community. And Surf Coast Shire last week announced the winners of 2 community awards. The Community Impact Award, which is won by Dan Blunt from Surf Coast Football Club, and our next guest, the winner of the Community Commitment Award, Steve Christou. It's an absolute pleasure to welcome Steve back to the Geelong Region Soccer Show. Steve, how are you? First of all, congratulations on your award.
Yeah, thanks, Todd. It's pretty humbling, to be honest, and yeah, bit of a surprise. Not something you obviously expect, and yeah, nice to get an acknowledgement for all your efforts that you do put in.
Yeah, how did it come about, mate? Did someone nominate you, or someone from the club nominate you, or outside of the club? How did it all come about?
Yeah, Brett King. I'll dub him in. Brett King nominated myself and Dan. He's very good at that and works closely with people that do make the effort to make this club tick.
Yeah. Now, that's one of the things, a lot of these community awards, civic awards, only happen when people nominate someone. And a big shout out to Brett King, the president there of Surf Coast. It is absolutely fantastic when that happens. We don't get enough of it. I mean, the Order of Australia medals, civic awards, premiers awards, all of those things, they're out there to recognise a lot of the work that a lot of volunteers do. And we as a football community probably don't do enough of it. So big shout out to Brett. But these awards, these Surf Coast Community Awards, they recognise people making a significant difference within the Surf Coast community through their dedication, leadership, and contribution. Now, we'll talk about you, mate, a little bit later on, but let's talk about Dan Blunt. Now, he's a very shy fella, doesn't like to come up on in front of the camera, but we did want him to come on board, but he was just a little bit shy. But nonetheless, we're going to now give him a little bit of acknowledgement. The award that he won, Community Impact Award, let's talk about his contribution to Surf Coast, mate.
I'll talk about his contribution to our club, but he does a lot of other stuff as well in the community. So from our point of view, Dan come on probably about 3 years ago. Damo was our hub coordinator at that stage, and Dan come along and pretty well just jumped in, helped Damo with the hub stuff and whatever else, and then from there he took it on completely. And this year he's done all our admin, overseen the whole lot, and he's absolutely. It's amazing to have a person that does the amount of work that he does, but he's also heavily involved in other groups, CFA and whatever else. He's well known for a lot of community stuff, so well and truly deserved the award and does an amazing job for us.
Well, that makes it even more amazing, the fact that he's not just involved at Surf Coast and boy, with a club that's, has over 1,000 players, and we all know how much work that involves. But goodness me, he's also involved in other facets of the community. You mentioned the CFA, and obviously lots of work required there. It makes it even more amazing that he was able to, spend and devote so much time to Surf Coast, or is able to.
Yeah, it's crazy. That's just him. He's a goer. He doesn't stop. I don't think he sleeps much, to be honest. But yeah, he flat out just gets in and gets the job done. And anyone that works with him, or especially at our club, will see it firsthand just how much he gets things done.
Yeah, now it says, I'm reading the statement from Surf Coast Shire. Dan's passion, leadership and impact across the football community continues to leave a lasting mark on so many players and families, and well done to Dan Blunt. Congratulations to him. Now, it also mentions here, Steve, your tireless commitment to Surf Coast Football Club over many years has helped shape the club both on and off the pitch. Now, you're a past president. You're heavily involved in the club at the moment, both on field and off field, and you're also the senior women's team coach, and we'll talk about that a little bit later on. But, mate, over the last few years, and since you've got involved with the club, it has been just a tremendous growth with the Surf Coast football community. Like, when you step back and you look at all that the club has achieved over the last decade or so, mate, it must make you pretty proud.
Yeah, it does. I sort of say that to Brett every now and then. We need to step back and just think about what we've achieved as a club. There's still heaps to do, obviously, but we're actually a little bit shy of the 1,000 Tonch, but we're 953 members we are.
There you go.
Players. But yeah, very, very proud of what we've been able to achieve. And I guess obviously with the partnership with Curva, with all the benefits of that we have as a club, we're a big attraction for players to come down. And so seeing the club go from where it was to where it is now, and there's a lot of kids and people down our way that actually love our code of football. So it's even better from that point of view. So it's amazing.
Getting harder and harder, obviously, as more and more players start to show an interest. And obviously, we always know that there's just never enough facilities. But what about coaching? What about coaches? Is there a sufficient amount of coaches there at the club, or is there always a need for new coaches to come up through the ranks?
I think there's always a need. So we work pretty close. There's a few players that coach as well, but we start at mini Roos level. So all up, I was talking to Dan before about it. There's about 195 coaches and team managers. So that sort of number puts it in a perspective of how hard or to try and manage that is huge within itself. But Dan's very good at putting pressure on coaches or parents at the mini Roos level.
Mm-hmm.
The difference is once they get involved, Tonch, and you know yourself, whatever. Once you get involved, it's actually good fun, like especially at that younger level, and
very rewarding.
Kids, it is hugely rewarding, and that's what people get a great buzz out of it. The other thing we do is we work closely with the coaches, with the Curva program and whatever else. So we've got systems in place that support the coaches from that point of view, which makes it easier. If coaches are left to their own, to just do everything, it becomes a lot harder from that point of view. So,
yeah. Now we're talking about coaches. You're the senior women's team coach. On the weekend, the local league season has finally got underway after the grading period. Had a very good win on the weekend. You guys did very, very well. How is it good to have the season proper? I speak about.
Oh, it definitely is. Obviously, as you've had previous people on the show, that the grading in the women is so difficult, and I'm like the rest of them, I'm not a fan of it, and hopefully we'll get it right moving forward. It's not an easy thing to do. Setting up the 3 divisions is fantastic. It's what we need. I think it's good to get it underway, but it's been a journey within itself in the sense that we've got the 3 teams this year, so we've got, I think it's 55 players, which is huge from that point of view. So it is good to get up and running, and good game on the weekend against a tough opponent, and good to get the job done. The girls played really, really well.
Yeah, 6-1 win against Bell Park, and Bell Park's no easy beat, that's for sure. So things looking really, really positively there. And you did mention... Now you mentioned the 3 divisions in the local women's league competition, and I guess Football Victoria has been criticised quite a fair bit in the past, particularly with regards to the gradings processes. But mate, that seems to me like a winner in as far as the competition structure of the local league is concerned.
Definitely, the right move. I think I spoke to Brett about it originally. Even during our pre-season, we were looking like we were going to have three teams, and it makes sense from the level. The difference between the levels is huge.
Yep.
And it's incentive to keep the girls playing if they're playing at a level that they're at as well. So it's a great move from that point of view.
And I guess Division 1 being of 8 teams, I think that for the first time, as far as the women's is concerned, it's an 8-team division. At least it's a proper competition. Everyone plays each other twice. There's 14 rounds, I guess. And yes, there are going to be teams that are going to be top 4 material. It may be different from the rest, but at least there's going to be quite a few teams that are going to be competitive, at least at that lower end of the competition as well. But it's a proper bona fide league structure now, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. And I know we spoke about it last year, Tom. The Geelong team is getting better and better. If I think about Division 1 4 or 5 years ago, we're at a much better standard with the younger girls coming through and whatever else. So, it's great to have that, and hopefully that continues from that point of view.
Yeah, and the blokes as well, like the men's team, they had a 6-0 win over Deakin Duck. So I guess that explains just how much of a depth there is at Surf Coast at the moment, that even the community team in the men's competition is doing very well.
Yeah, it's good. Credit to the guys that actually run it as well. It's well run. There's a few of the boys that do that. Glennie, Simon, but they've also got three sort of separate coordinators or players that coordinate each team as well,
Yep.
or not three. There's 3x2, so six of them or whatever. So they run it really well, and it's a credit to them. So it's awesome from that point of view. Yeah.
Brilliant. And we can't avoid talking about the senior men's team at the moment, doing very well.
Yeah.
Currently second in State League 2. If they continue doing what they're doing at the moment, well, it could be 3 promotions in 3 years and State 1 football next year. But we're not going to get ahead of ourselves. But mate, that's been a meteoric rise, hasn't it, in the last few years?
Yeah, it has, and that's obviously credit to a lot of things that have gone on. Within the playing group, obviously, previous coaches. Robbie and Tommy are a huge part of that. Robbie Panetta and Tom Lehman coordinators. So it's a big group effort and whatever else. So it's just great, and the boys really are a really good bunch of guys that are doing well, really well. So it's great to see.
It's great to see. Fantastic. Well done to everyone there at Surf Coast Football Club. But to you and Dan, once again, congratulations on your awards. Was there an award ceremony, or was any pomp and ceremony made from the event?
It was actually a really, really nice ceremony. Beautiful ceremony they had at the Shire offices. So it was great to be part of. And if I can, just before we finish off, Tonch, just want to recognise obviously the other volunteers that are heavily involved in not just our club but other clubs. But we've got a great committee. Everyone's driving the same direction with what we're trying to do as a club, and it's fantastic. There's obviously we mentioned the coaches, team managers, coordinators. I just mentioned there's a number of coordinators that do that, and people like Richard Dunn. You don't forget about Richard, who's doing the lines every week. So huge shout out to all volunteers as far as what they do, and especially for our volunteers that help at our club.
Yeah, absolutely. On that note, thank you very much once again, Steve, for joining us on the Geelong Region Soccer Show podcast.
Thanks again.
And folks, we will be back after this very, very short break. Absolute jam-packed show tonight. We hope you are enjoying tonight's episode. We'll be back very, very shortly after this short break.
The world is yours. So work hard, and you can have whatever it is you want.
And unfortunately, folks, that brings us to the end of tonight's show. Thank you very much for being a part of the Geelong Region Soccer Show podcast. We really enjoyed your company. Episode 12. Well, we're hoping to get to episode 25 this year. We're at the halfway mark practically. We've got funding at the moment for about another 5 to 6 shows that will take us through to episode 18. We need your help. We do need your help. We are asking you all, if you've got a small business, or if you've got know someone who has got a small business, or your club is interested in sponsoring or advertising on our show, to get in touch with us. And as individuals, you can also do a big thing by becoming a member, and it only costs $5 per month. That's pocket money. Less than a price of a skinny cappuccino at most places around town. And there it is at the bottom of the screen, how you can become a member and basically donate each month $5 to ensure that we can see out the season. I know times are tough, but there it is, www.patreon.com/Geelong Region Soccer Show. If you head on to there and become a member. You're making a big, big contribution for just a small price. Like I said, that brings us to the end of this week's program. We hope we're going to have your company again next Monday night at 8 p.m. for episode 13 of our 8th season. Until then, good night. Bye-bye.